Hi, everybody. So happy to be here. Well, I got a lovely introduction already, so I don't need to tell you anything more about myself, but I'm here to talk to you about how Macy's uses Movable Ink to connect our first-party data, driving efficiency and results for us, and increasing personalization. So let's jump in. I want to start by acknowledging the obvious thing that all of us are working on, which is this necessary shift from primarily business-led content to, with this like small sprinkling of personalization and customer-led content, to really getting to one-to-one, hyper-personalized, customer-led content while still supporting our business priorities and needs. And I think we're probably all at different stages in this migration, right? I know for us at Macy's, we're somewhere in the middle, and it definitely hasn't been easy. We're so reliant on technology and all of our internal stakeholders to help us with this, which brings me to my next slide, which is some of our core challenges that we really were struggling, and Movable Ink helped us overcome. So the first being a lack of resources. So as you move from segmentation to personalization, you need more content, more creative, more versions, right? And that just wasn't something that was doable for us with our current creative headcount and development resources. The next was disconnected systems. So we don't have this beautiful, fully integrated ecosystem. All of our technology is kind of built in its own silo and was signed on for its particular needs. And thankfully, I'm excited to say we're working on it, but that's a very long process, and we're being asked to scale personalization now. And the last is long processes. So we need to be able to, A, respond to the business quickly, and B, respond to the consumer quickly. So when our processes are long and it takes a long time to get creative or new assets, that really prohibits us from being able to respond quickly and drive that effectiveness or that kind of push towards responding to that behavior now that we need to. And I'm sure many of you can probably resonate with these struggles, but in comes Movable Ink, right? And how we use Movable Ink to overcome some of these core challenges. So this slide might look very familiar for anybody who sat through a sales pitch or onboarding with Movable Ink, but we've edited a little bit to be applicable for Macy's. So when I joined Macy's about 3 years ago, we already had a contract with Movable Ink. However, we're using them for more of their out-of-the-box solutions. So scratch-offs, countdown timers, all great. But given my history with Movable Ink at previous companies, I knew that we could do so much more and really help solve some of those core challenges if we just connected our data and our content sources to their platform. So that's what we did. That was my first task, is give me all the data, let's hook everything up, and that will unlock so many opportunities for us. So we first started with connecting as many of our data sources as we possibly could to the Movable Ink platform. That included our recommendation models, our propensity models, ensuring they had access to site behavior, our loyalty data, transaction data, as well as customer state, which for us that's, maybe are you a new customer, where are you located, do you have kids in the household, any of those maybe one-off data points we might use to make decisions. And then there's the other side, right? The other side where, okay, great, you have the data, but you still need those creative versions. You still have that gap. And that's where Movable Ink comes in with their content sources. So we also connected through an API to all of our content repositories. So for us, that was our website, our product catalog, and any images we were using for our email campaigns, banners, background images, etc. All right. Oh. Before I leave this slide, I do want to say one thing before I get into some use cases for how this all comes to life. If you are a Movable Ink client, and whether you're brand new, we've been there for 5 years, if you do not have your data connected to their platform, do it. That's the first thing you should do when you get back to the office. Like, it is going to unlock so many opportunities for you and your business and really help almost like give you more ownership over your channels and be less reliant on other stakeholders and technology that perhaps you're lacking. Okay, so let's dive into some use cases so you can see how that data has helped us in a customer-facing way. So the first is our product recommendations. So all of our personalized product recommendations within the email channel are powered by Movable Ink. And we've chosen Movable Ink to power them for a few reasons. One of the primary ones is the real time. So I'm sure all of you are aware, but Movable Ink renders content at time of open. This is so important for us for a few reasons. So one being price. We're a very high-low business. Our prices are changing all the time. And so being able to render the price when the customer opens the email is incredibly important for us. The next is inventory level. So thinking back to the last slide, we connected our product catalog to Movable Ink. They now have access to the inventory of every product in our catalog. This is really important so that we can make sure we're showing customers products that are in stock and that they can buy now, especially the last 3 years with all the supply chain, the inventory issues. This was a major win for us. And last, but certainly not least, it allows us to adjust in real time based on user behavior. So even if I sent an email yesterday, if the customer goes to the website, browses a little bit, and then opens the email tomorrow, the recommendations that might have been there when I sent it are going to be different than what they are when they open the email. And that's really important to staying on top of their recent behavior. The next section is of why we use them as customization. So one of my favorite things about Movable Ink is how custom you can get with their solutioning. So 98% of the time when I go to my Movable Ink team and I say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Can you help us figure it out? The answer is yes. It's not, yes, that's easy, that's out of the box, but it normally ends with a yes, right? And so I really encourage you to explore any ideas you have with them, even if it's not on the list of out-of-the-box solutions. And so an example of that here is we layer a lot of customization onto our product recommendations. So that could be something like recent site behavior. So perhaps a customer goes onto the site, adds something to the cart in the last few weeks. I might prioritize that as a waterfall in my product recommendations to make sure I'm showing what they carted at the top of that list, since I know that's the product they're most likely to convert on. Perhaps maybe they didn't add to cart, but they just browsed. Okay, that's still telling behavior of what they're interested in now. Let me prioritize that next. Perhaps they haven't been to the site in 3 months. Okay, well, I've still got my recommendation model that's going to serve based on their historic behavior. And that waterfall logic is really adding a lot of additional value to our standard product recommendation widgets with those customizations. Another example could be category or brand affinity, right? So let's say I've got a men's email, and I want to be really intentional about only showing men's products. Despite if that customer has recommendations from across the store, we can filter to only show their best recommendations within the men's department. Some other examples are loyalty points as well as website filtering. So let me show you some examples. Okay, so let's talk about loyalty. So this first set of examples here are how we've layered loyalty onto some of our recommendation modules. So the first one, the Adidas here, is this customer has Star Money. So what that means is for us, they've earned a reward within our reward program that allows them to take a discount off of their next purchase. And so what we've done here is we said, even though this is normally $120, when your reward's applied, it's only $85. And that really helps us kind of help reduce that cost barrier for that customer, helping increase conversion. The second example is during one of our bonus points events, right? So during a certain period of time, you can earn more points per dollar spent, helping you get to your next reward quicker. And so we've taken the price of this item and calculated the points they're going to earn during this promotional period, which helps drive a sense of urgency and helps them convert now so they can get those extra points on that purchase and get to their next reward quicker. On the left-hand side here, while not in the in-market example, I did want to show this because I think it helps you contextualize what I mean by custom filters. So this is a snapshot of the filters that we have on our website. So if you were to go shopmacys.com, you're browsing around, in this case, the beauty department, these are the filters that you'd see on the website. And because Movable Ink is connected to our website, they have access to apply any of those filters to our email campaigns. And so just a couple examples here. Pick up at your local Macy store. For those of you who still have brick and mortar, for us, it's still a huge part of our total business, and especially for our email marketable customers, this can really come in handy because I can say, hey, for customers who have a propensity to shop in store, let me filter for items that are available in their local store as opposed to showing everything, since that's kind of their preferred shopping method, right? Another example here is top rated. So let's pretend reviews are a really big priority for your beauty customers and really help towards driving conversion, them feeling confident in buying that product. You can filter your beauty recommendations for products that are top rated, again, helping create that confidence and drive additional conversion for your customers. Okay, enough on product recommendations. Let's move to another use case. So in this use case, we use Movable Ink to automate more narrow segments for us. And so going back to my original pain points, right, one of the most creative versions. And so because of this, for anybody who had a behavior at home, we were sending one total home email, same content to everybody. And we knew there was an opportunity to say, how can we get a little more narrow in what we're showing this customer based on their behavior? We were able to use Movable Ink and scrape in products from subcategories within the home division that might be more relevant to this customer. So for example, let's say Tom comes in, shops Macy's home department all the time, but he only shops within the kitchen department. Rather than sending him a broad total home email, why not send him a home email that's focused on kitchen items only, which we know is going to be more relevance and therefore drive stronger performance. And you can see just that, right? So on average, these niche segments compared to our total home campaigns have driven 150% lift in clicks, 34% lift in conversion, and 58% lift in sales per recipient. So a really strong, successful tactic for us. And the great part about it is it's not just applicable to home, right? This can be applied across your business where there's opportunity to get more narrow in your targeting. Okay. All right. Moving on to a recent use case that we're actually currently working on is a new arrivals template. So the idea here is how can we create a fully automated template that's almost self-updating, self-populating, featuring new arrivals and staying relevant to the customer. So this need came in due to the need to respond to the business, send something at the last minute. Anybody in retail has definitely experienced that. Can argue whether that's right or wrong in a different conversation, but it's the reality, right? And so the problem we were facing is when that happens, we have to send something either super generic or we have to send something that we sent earlier that day or the day before because we can't get content fast enough from our internal teams. So by creating templates that are ready to go, you're helping solve that problem. So in this case, we're basically using our purchase propensity model to determine which version a customer gets. Now, there's more than these four, but for visual sake. So in this case, the example on the right, the customer's highest propensity is within the handbags division. And so we're using Movable Ink to scrape in new arrivals, again, using that filter I showed earlier, into these templates. So they're always being updated with the latest and greatest that's being added to the website, making this kind of a ready-to-go, fully functioning campaign that you can send at any time. It's always going to be updated. It's always going to be relevant because it's decisioning based off of that model, and you need no creative resources to send it. All right, last but certainly not least, what are we doing now and what does future state look like? So what we're working on is how do we take kind of these ideas and really scale it to build fully dynamic templates and be kind of like a fully functioning machine, right? So versus components. And so this is an example, purely illustrative. And these boxes can certainly change based on your business strategy, what you need for your business, what's most important. But the idea here is that each area of this email is fully customized based on the customer's data. So let's just quickly go through a few of these. So the first is the promotion. I can now alter this based on someone's promo sensitivity. So if someone is a full price shopper, they don't need a discount to convert, I can collapse this, save the margin, right? Like, why would we take that margin hit? But someone who might need a little more of a push, I can give a deeper offer to. The next being, hey, what is this email about? What do we want to focus on? In this case, we're suggesting choosing this content based on someone's purchase propensity towards a particular category or division. The links underneath would alter based on the category selected. So in this case, women's apparel, maybe those links are dresses, activewear, tops, etc. You've got promotions and/or products that filter into that category the customer's most interested in. And then brands. So brands are super important to Macy's. If you shop Macy's, you know we carry a large variety of brands, and they're important to our customers. So let's show them the brands that they're most interested in. Next is what we're using as a cross-shop space. And so given that we have a very broad assortment, customers who shop in more than one division generally have a much higher CLV. So cross-shop is really important for us. And so we want to make sure we're leaving space to talk about other things than just what they're most interested in. What might they be interested in next, right? The beginning said it's not all personalized content. There's got to be a little company priorities in there, right? So how can we leave space for what our company priorities are? And in this case, this is a static Father's Day message, right? That's what we're leaning into as a company, and there's always going to be those needs. And then last, if I can get out of the way, certainly not least, a non-transactional box here, which is basically like, what are things that drive CLV that aren't transactional? So that could be joining our loyalty program, downloading the app, applying for a credit card, etc. Okay, so I didn't want to just walk you through the logic, here's what it could be. I wanted to actually give you a visualization. So what you see here is 2 different emails visually, but every module is exactly the same, using the same logic, the same concept. So you can see when we go fully automated and set these rules that are based on data, you can really create content that looks very different and is very customized to the user without spending endless hours developing end-to-end emails with your creative team. And we're really excited about this, not only because we know personalization drives results, but because it frees up a lot of our time so that we can focus on other things like channel propensity, where are you most likely to shop? How frequently do we reach you? Some of these other big topics that we also need to tackle and integrate with our program. Okay, I'm about done with my time here, but I want to leave you with a few thoughts. I hope some of these examples are helpful for you, and maybe you can take it, but if you take nothing else from this presentation, take these 3 things. So 1, connect your data sources and content sources to Movable Ink. This is a must-do to get your money's worth from the software. Like, do it. I'm telling you, it will help you. It will help you bring to life all the ideas that you have. 2, don't hesitate to ask your Movable Ink team for custom solutions. It might not be on the list, but they can probably figure it out. And so I really encourage you, go to them, say, hey, this is my idea. How can we figure this out? And that's going to unlock a lot of opportunity for you and your business. And 3, and probably most importantly, reap the benefits of increased ownership over your program, efficiency gains, and most importantly, revenue impact. That's all I have, so thank you so much.